What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Lennox Lewis. Big up, England! Big up! Lennox Lewis calls out nonsense as the undisputed Fury-Usyk fight draws near. The last undisputed heavyweight champion, of course, was Lennox Lewis, has labeled any other moves in the division nonsense ahead of a Tyson Fury-Alexander Usyk battle. Fury and Usyk will collide in the spring of 2023 for all the belts at 200 plus pounds. The only thing that could stop that if the sanctioning bodies put an immovable blockage in the way. Currently, the WBN understands that orders from the IBF, the WBO, and the WBA for the title defenses by their respective belt holders, Usyk will not be enforced. So far, a deal between all sides to keep the fight for all the marbles are looking good. The WBC, representing Fury's stake in the championships, have already cleared their mandatory path. They have approved Deontay Wilder versus Andy Ruiz for their stipulated title shot. However, that fight is set to take place around the same time as Fury and Usyk. But Lennox Lewis had this to say about any other thing besides undisputed. He says, "Undisputed! Everything else is nonsense," stated Lewis. And immaterial mandatories were put into the public domain. He also said, "The two fighters have agreed to fight each other next." With Fury and Usyk, we're dealing with two adults. So, those are the words of Lennox Lewis. And let me counterpunch. First off, Mr. Floating Rib Shot. I don't know what you're talking about, Larry. If anybody could make any comment about undisputed, it's Lennox Lewis, because he was the last one to become undisputed. So he should be as loud and as credible as anyone. Okay? And he is absolutely right. The progression to get one champion, one face, one name, we had two other guys that failed to come to an agreement for whatever reason to fight each other. Okay? And we waited 5 years for that shit. 5. Almost 6, because it started in 17. Okay? And the negotiations fell apart. They're begging. They don't want it. They're running, but they're begging. They're this, they're that. They're not marketable enough. You don't know who you are. It was so many different things and reasons on why that fight didn't happen or whatever, for whatever reason. Okay? And now it's with two other guys, Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury, both undefeated. And if we could go back and look in the mirrors of time, you would never expect a former cruiserweight champion, undisputed nonetheless, but a former cruiserweight champion to be the unified middleweight champion, and a guy that wasn't even fighting in those times because he was in a mess, depressed, living in less, failing another test, bars, like Tyson Fury, 400 pounds. You would never expect in a million years for this type of collide to happen, okay? And Lennox Lewis is right. Any other fight besides undisputed between two champions that want to put it all on the line, that wants to put their undefeated fight mark on the line, is nonsense. If they fight anybody else, it's nonsense. If they talk about anybody else, it's nonsense at this point. Because this is the fight that needs to happen this year. A lot of fights that didn't happen, unfortunately. Undisputed fights like Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, they didn't happen. So we mustn't go down that road. And I think this is just bigger than the undisputed at heavyweight. This is boxing overall, because boxing needs this particular fight as well. Because if we don't get this fight, and then we haven't got the Errol Spence Terrence Crawford fight, then that fight has matured, and I think it's going past in the ripe stages, okay? It's getting sour, let's say that. But this particular fight, it's the right time, and it should happen now. And I'm with Lennox Lewis. This fight should happen. Any other fight is utter nonsense. But you guys tell me what you think of Lennox Lewis. Of course, please subscribe, and you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!